fair trade ensured in your?
So that will depend on P&Ls. So you are not going to be able to declare dividends. See, the whole point is build a profitable venture and declare dividend. If you will not build a profitable venture, you have no standing. Right? So profitable ventures are built at scale. This is very common principles of business. No business sees profitability on day one. Right? So you invest in it and it will see profit in year 2 or year 3. Then it will declare dividends. So that's what the whole premise is based on. That help them build a certain size of business which will hit a profit. So it's transparent. So in a normal intermediary or in a normal middleman situation, there is no transparency. We don't know how much he's taking. But we know it because we see the middleman gets richer and the producers where they are. But in this model, it's all on paper, it's all transparent. This is what the professionals get, and this is what eventually the community professionals will get. And at a certain size of business, there will be a profit which will be declared to the community. But it is above minimum wage based. Meaning we have to ensure that the producers earn a fair wage. So in the costing pricing of the product, all that is factored in. The community is taught that.
And do they know the kind of prices which are fetched in the market?
Yes.
They are aware about it.
Absolutely. And the other big thing that the community is taught is that your wages will only go up if you are able to have more lean production practices. After all, that's what normal manufacturing does, right? How will you compete if you make a basket that has been made in Vietnam for the last 40 years? Overnight, you are getting the order. How will you make it at the same efficiency that the Vietnamese woman makes it at? So we use a lot of lean production principles, and so the community is taught that it's the method in which you will make.
So there's a lot of focus on training and capacity building at the regular intervals.
And you'll have to do it SKU by SKU, which is why we keep telling the government of India that you cannot do all these things through a 3-month program and then done for life. You know, there has to be a lot of recurring training, a lot of on the job, you have to be with the community for at least 3 years. So it's a cluster approach.
And you rightly said, I think you need to have professionals within the ecosystem for the
on the job. Why when you look at the apprenticeship scheme or automotive or anything, there's a 3-month training. But then what about the on the job that he has on the factory floor as an apprentice for the next 6 months? He has that, right? 6 months, 9 months. All that is going on in automotive. It's not as though in 3 months he is like all set. He's not. So those same principles are actually what are being applied here.
A lot of focus last 2 years have been on sustainability, embedding sustainability into value chain for Indian corporates also, with investors asking, with regulators now asking. How did you pitch that to these multinationals? What happened between the two that you have that kind of business flowing with them? And how do you see other social enterprises having similar opportunity for Indian corporates, or for that matter even multinationals?
I really don't know the logic with which IKEA did it, but obviously, I think in 2010 or whatever, there was a World Business Council for Sustainability or something.
WBCSD.
Which put out the fact that the most sustainable form of business is one where it is doing it in its own value chain, and it's not doing it as CSR. So globally, there is a drive that businesses should be engaging with social enterprises through their supply chain. So it's a core principle. So our journey with IKEA and a lot of other brands has initiated from there. And our journey started in 2011. They had initiated something called Next Generation, which was to bring social enterprises into their value chain. and then now it's become a pillar.
And
at
it's not IKEA Foundation,
No,
it's
it's
proper
IKEA
business.
corporate.
Corporate, yeah.
We deal only with IKEA corporate. And IKEA corporate has sensitized their employees on the criticality of, they call the initiative IKEA Social Entrepreneurs now. It's no longer called IKEA Next Generation. It's called IKEA Social Entrepreneurs, and they have been sensitized to the fact that it's a key pillar. It's IKEA's fourth pillar, and it's a board decision. So the merchandisers, that's a very key role, right? The staff, the business, being able to engage with social enterprise is not easy. It requires a skill set which is a little different. But that is
Did you have to make a pitch to them, or they came to you? How did that work? Or this is through this World Business Council?
No.
Yeah.
In 2011, we had reached out to IKEA, and they told us they were initiating this new thing, and so we were one of their first two partners from India.
And you start reaching out to corporates and their supply chain. What makes you, I mean, what is that selling point that you give, and how do you see that, coming from other Indian social enterprises? It's from a learning standpoint.
Well, I'll be frank, I don't think Indian corporates are really in that situation where they want to source from social entrepreneurs right now. It's got a lot to do with their personnel, because it's not easy dealing with social entrepreneurs. We had launched a brand, Mother Earth. We had an investment from Future Group.
Okay.
And it was our mandate that we had to deal with NGOs and social enterprises for sourcing.
Okay.
Yeah? So our teams did it, but it slows you down. Yeah? And there are many issues. We've just now launched Flourish. It's an online platform. Industree Foundation has launched it. Flourish.shop,
Okay.
where we are sourcing. And we are seeing the issues that if we want to go to more and more and more grassroots NGOs and build their capability, try to get more transparency, because this is not about social washing. So we want all the suppliers on Flourish to give us breakups of costings. We share a transparent costing with IKEA. Yeah? But a lot of the suppliers on Flourish are not willing to do that. Yeah? And I don't think it's got anything to do with a sense of ethics. I think it's got more to do with them really not knowing very often the breakup of how much the producer really earns.
Okay.
So
that's
the
a capacity
future
building issue again.
Yeah. So now we are going to build a program within Flourish, which will capacity build the partners of Flourish. Because Flourish is owned by the community. We don't own Flourish. It's owned by the producers who will sell on Flourish.
Okay.
So now we will get into the next step, which is building capacity of all the producer groups that sell on Flourish to understand transparency. Why transparency? Yeah? It's not because someone is going to pass a judgment on you that how much of margin was kept by the group, because there is a real cost.
Yeah.
So you can keep your margin, but transparency helps build more efficiency.
That's true.
So therefore there could be some guidelines which could be shared with you to become more efficient.
So talking about transparency, do you see somewhere the role of technology coming here? I mean, there are, use cases of blockchains that people talk about globally. I'm not too sure about in India, how they are feasible, but do you see use of such kind of technology platform for ensuring transparency at each level, right, from producer to the consumer?
See, the future is going to be about transparency. You will see 20, 30 years from now, I don't know how many years, I shouldn't predict. There will be a sea change in consumption. You will see a massive push towards transparency, which is why you have the large, IKEA is the world's largest home company. Why are they doing any of this? The way the Greta's children will consume will be radically different. Yeah? And obviously you will have stepping stones. People will consume differently in Africa or India, but If you look at the trends in Northern Europe, which actually sets the global sustainability trend,
Yeah.
the future of consumption will be all about transparency. Definitely what you're saying, it will all be about every product could be just coming out of a blockchain. How much did the producer
Yeah, because
get?
it solves for the issue of that you're talking about, capacity
It'll be
building.
on its carbon miles, it'll be, things will head in that direction.